And if we want to go ahead and give an applause and welcome Eric Rosenberg. And today he's going to be speaking about taking your writing from a side hustle to full-time job.
Thanks everyone for coming. How y'all doing this morning? Right. TBEX, right? We're still early in the conference. We're all feeling fresh and good. You know, I was too hungover from the party last night. The one thing I love about conferences is anyone out there married? Just raise your hand. When I'm at home, I love sharing a bed. I love my wife more than anything. But I have to admit, when I have a king size bed to myself, I sleep like this. So I have a question for all of you to start out. When you were a kid, people often ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, there's popular answers. There's firefighter, policeman. Here in Alabama, astronaut was probably a very popular one. If anyone shout out, what did you want to be when you grew up? Writer. Ballerina? First to outer space? First nun to outer space. Did any of you ever say blogger? No, because that didn't exist yet, right? So something to think about when you're a writer and you're a freelancer. We're the pioneers. We're figuring this all out as we go along. There aren't hundreds of years of rules. You know, it's not like a military thing or something like that. So keep that open mind as you think about how you freelance and how you work with your clients. And as we go, there's two pieces of paper. I dropped at every seat. One is a white sheet you can fill out as we go along. That should answer any questions for you. That's for you to take home. The green card is for me. I will not add anyone to an email list. I'm not doing that. I sent one email just saying hello and maybe sending a resource over and give you an opportunity to join the list. But I'd appreciate it if you could fill those cards out. So a little bit about my background. My name is Eric Rosenberg. I started blogging in 2006. I created a site that was called eric1985.blogspot.com. Don't go there, it doesn't exist anymore. Then I started a blog about politics in Israel and the Middle East that I really learned how to blog with. And I started learning through that there's opportunities to make money on the internet. And in 2008, I started a site that became Personal Profitability. That's my main site today. Although it's not my main income source. My main income source is freelancing. But I wouldn't have that freelance income if it weren't for Personal Profitability. I didn't realize in October 2008 when I wrote my first post that I was writing my new resume. And my background is in finance and accounting. I worked at a bank. That was my first job out of school. I don't have a journalism degree. I was a bank manager. So I started telling people, oh, here's things you can do with your personal finances to make it better. That's what really got me started in blogging. But I realized along the way that there are opportunities to make money off my site because of my site. I was really excited the first time I got a sponsored blog post for $10. Yes, I can go buy 2 beers. Yeah. If you live in New York, you can buy like 0.7 beers for that. But then the opportunities started to grow and they started to come in more. And I went to events like this. There's a conference called FinCon. It's a financial blogger conference that takes place every year. I went to the first one ever in Chicago about 7 years ago. It's a community very much like this, tight-knit, people trying to help each other succeed. And connections I made there helped me start to meet people that would pay me more than $10 to write a blog post. And my rate started to go up. And then I started writing on other people's websites rather than writing about their products on my website. And that is when the money really started to kick in. So I'm very transparent. I write on the internet how much money I make every month. It's if you go to personalprofitability.com, there's a link for income reports. Links down there, small at the bottom. But I put it all right here on the slide, so you don't have to go there. In 2012, I made just under $10,000 online. At that point, I had this, I was so excited, like not only am I covering a couple of beers, I'm like covering my rent and covering my mortgage. That money started to make an impact in my life. And this is while I had a full-time job still. I was working as a senior financial analyst / accountant through these years. So I made almost $10,000. I was like, wow, I might be onto something here. This is kind of cool. The next year that grew to $14,000. Again, now I'm really covering my mortgage. My online income was starting to impact my life in a really positive way. 2014, that grew to over $25,000. At $25,000, I realized there are people in this country that's their annual income. And I'm able to do this while keeping a full-time job. I was like mind blown when I saw that number. Then at the end of 2015, when I tallied it up, I broke $40,000. I was living in Portland, Oregon at the time, working as a senior financial analyst at a big company. And I looked at the average income of people in Portland, and I was making on the side what the average family brought in. And that was like, whoa, maybe I could do this as like a whole job. Like, this is when I started to think I could seriously make the jump. And 2015 was also the year I had a daughter, I have a 1.5-year-old baby girl. And when she was 6 months old, I decided to do the responsible thing as a new dad and quit my job and sell my house and move somewhere more expensive. So I left Portland and moved to Southern California, I live by the beach, and I call it the sunshine tax, what our real estate costs there. But when I hit that number, there was one morning I had to go to work before my daughter was awake, and I got home after she was asleep. I didn't see her for a whole day. I was sitting in a gray cubicle on the phone and typing in Excel and stressed out. And then I had to go home and keep writing and doing blog posts, and that was how I was using my weekends and my vacations. Everything was essentially, at that point, had grown to having like 1.5 jobs. And I thought, if I leave my day job and I go from spending 10, 15 hours a week on this whole blogging thing to a full-time dedicated job, I should at least be able to double it, right? So I'm doubling the time I can put into it. And that is actually, I actually tripled it. I left my job, my last day was October 8th last year, or April 8th, sorry, last year. I actually have a picture on my Instagram of my foot as I stepped out of corporate America for the last time, I hope. And my income really started to grow then. And with 9 months full-time and 3 months part-time in 2016, I brought in $94,000 online. And of that, the vast majority was from freelancing, not from my website. My own website, maybe 5% of that. So this is a screenshot from my QuickBooks. This is right out of my accounting. It's really small to read. So there are important milestones along the way. April is when I quit my job. I brought $6,000 in that month. Over the summer, there's a summer lull in online traffic. It's something you've probably seen yourself. People are out on summer vacation. They're not sitting on the internet like they are in the winter when it's cold and yucky outside. So my income was stagnating a little bit through the summer. I was a little bit nervous, having quit my job and moved somewhere more expensive. But then I went to FinCon last year, again, an event just like this. Made some great connections, brought on a couple new clients, and my income doubled from September to October. And that was the first month I made over $10,000 in 1 month online. And that was the point I was like, whoa, I guess I've made it. And I'm very proud to say that 7 months in a row, I have not dipped below that $10,000 mark. My peak was November last year, I did $16,000. In the months since, I'm averaging somewhere between $10,000 and $11,000 a month. So now that I've been talking about me the whole time, let's talk about you. Let's talk about how to do it. So the first thing you need to do if you want to really succeed in freelancing is become the undisputed expert in something. There is something in the world that you know more about than anyone else. I guarantee there's at least one thing, and probably more. And of those things, there's probably something that people out there find really interesting. You just need to get that reputation, that expert status, to launch yourself out there. They often say, fake it till you make it. Absolutely, this is the case and on the internet. You're not sitting in an office staring at someone in the eye, you're typing to people, you're controlling your communication flow. And you can present yourself in a way that projects you as the expert. Maybe you are into adventure travel, adventure sports, skydiving, let's like there's that one on there. Maybe you're into quirky, funny things. There's a thing, I actually met someone the other night who lives in British Columbia. We met in the hotel lobby 2 nights ago. And I might actually get to go to the bathtub races in Nanaimo, Canada. It's a real thing. People build bathtubs into boats and put an engine on the back and they race across the bay. It's like, I want to go and write about that. That would be awesome. Maybe you know about finance. Maybe you know about international travel. Maybe you know specific regions like the Middle East or the south of the United States. Maybe you know New York. Maybe you're a big city person, small city person. It doesn't matter what your thing is, but you have to define it and pick it. So you think, like, what do you love writing about most? What is that expertise that you want to project? And think hard about it before you really start putting it out there, because once it's out there, that's your brand. That's what you're becoming, the expert in that. So don't pick something that you're like, about. Pick something you really love. So there's this rule. Has anyone read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell? It's a great book. I think anyone, if you're going to have kids, should have to read this book. It should be required by law. It's an incredible book. And they talk in the book about the people who have done things that were incredible, the ones who really stood out. People like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, how they created two of the most valuable companies on earth. They talk about the Beatles a lot in this book. It's something I found interesting about the Beatles. You know, we all know them as like the kings of rock and roll from the heyday of when rock and roll was becoming a thing. But the songs that we know and love from the Beatles, they didn't write that day one. They spent years playing often for free in bars in Germany and around all over Europe. And they were playing in the afternoon to an empty bar, but they added up all these hours of playing together again and again and again. Imagine how quickly, if you're playing 8 hours a day in a bar, you can reach 10,000 hours. And that's the number that there's this 10,000 hour rule. It says if you've done something for 10,000 hours, you are an absolute expert in it. But with freelancing, especially when we have a full-time job at the same time, we don't have, to get to 10,000 hours, you could spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 44 weeks a year. It would take 5.5 years to reach that. We're doing it part-time. So you really have to think about how you use your hours and use them well to build up that expertise. So you can't you won't accidentally become an expert. It takes time. So what sets you apart? That's the next thing. For me, I have 2 finance degrees. So when I started writing about personal finance, it made sense. I had a job, I worked in a bank. I was the guy who approved mortgages. So I have some financial clients who are mortgage companies. So those are things that I know about and I can draw on. So if you have a degree, a specific qualification, you can draw on that and leverage that to find clients. I used to work at a payments company. One of my clients is a payments company, a different one. But that's an expertise that I can draw. Next is experience. This picture, Huntsville, Alabama, we're all here. How many is this your first time in Huntsville or Alabama? Yeah, this was my first time in Alabama. This was state number 44, I landed 2 days ago. But prior to 2 days ago, I probably could not have written any good article on Huntsville. But now I've been here a couple days, and only a couple days, but I feel like I could write pretty detailed articles about the space programs here. I was lucky enough to go to space camp 2 days ago and the Marshall Space Center tour yesterday. So I'm like, space in my head. Like I've been watching Star Trek at night since I've been here. So I'm like, in space, nerding out. Next, thought leadership. So what is something that you have thought of that goes against the norm, or that someone hasn't said before? That is something that can make you stick out from the crowd. So there's a book called The Purple Cow by Seth Godin. I always wonder if I say his last name right. Or is it Godin or Godin? But I think it's Godin. I don't know. The book is called The Purple Cow, and the idea is it's a marketing concept. If you're driving down the highway and you see a herd of cows, you're not going to notice any specific cow, probably. They all kind of blend together. But if there's a purple cow, that will jump out from the bunch. You will absolutely notice it. So when you're writing, when you're building your personal brand, think what makes you different. If you're just copying the successes everyone else has had, you might have some success, but it will probably be moderately less because someone's done it before. And the copycat is, you can mimicking is the greatest form of flattery, but copying is imitating. So be original and be a thought leader. Next, build a presence. Me speaking on stage, that helps build my online presence. Someone out in this audience might hire me after this. I don't know, maybe not. I am on social media. I am all over the web. I have my own website. I have many places I write and try to put myself out there. If you sit and hide in your little corner of the internet, no one's anyone going to find you. You got to really push yourself out there. And that won't happen on accident. You You might write one article that goes viral and help you pick up a few followers, but if you really want to jump out, you got to take that time. So speaking of online presences, build your brand. So when someone thinks of you or your website, what do you want them to feel? That's how I think of branding. And what's the emotional connection your followers or your readers have to you, and your clients have to you? That's your brand. So every freelancer needs a website as a home and a hub for their brand online. And Contently portfolios are great, but we don't control what Contently does. Facebook articles are fun. We can't control what Facebook does. We don't know what's going to happen next there. If you have your own website, you absolutely control it. No one can change it. Google might decide if they like you one day and not like you another, and decide how many people they're going to send you. But when you hand your business card to someone, does it just have a Twitter handle on it? Or does it have a way they can go and find you and find out about you and what you offer? So when you create your website, how many of you don't have a website for yourself? I don't want to spend too much time because most people have websites on this one. So I'll go through this one quickly. You should have your own .com domain. It shouldn't be like .wordpress.com or .blogspot.com or something else. It should be yourname.com or something. Like I have my own personalprofitability.com. I spent $1,000 a couple months ago to buy ericrosenberg.com because I had ericrosenberg.me. I was like, oh, that's cool, but I wanted my .com. So now when I go meet someone, I say, yeah, go to ericrosenberg.com and find out everything you need. Make it obvious what you do. Make it easy to contact you. Link to your social media, but don't use your website to send people away to social media. Social media should be the funnel to your website. But you still want people to be able to follow you. I actually I did a video making a website in less than 5 minutes. It was 4 minutes and 58 seconds. I registered a .com domain, installed WordPress, and had a website that worked. A video I put up if you want to follow along. It's at personalprofitability.com/website. Totally free. You can watch that video. Learn how to build a website in 5 minutes. But think about what you want people to do when they get there. If your goal is to get hired, don't put pictures of cats and dogs and whatever on the front page. Put here's what I am, here's what I do, here's how to hire me. And again, putting yourself out there. In addition to your blog, you can use other funnels to get people to find you so they can hire you. I have a podcast in addition to my blog. You can create courses, you can create guides and videos. I have a friend, her name is Sandy Smith. Her website's called yesiamcheap.com, and she is cheap. She's hilarious. She started her blog within a few months of me, and we've met at FinCon. We've been good friends for years. We've tracked each other's progress. And about the time that I really started to grow in freelancing, she went another route. She said, I'm going to go on Periscope every night at the same time and do a 5-minute class. Every night, 5 nights a week. And it was like midnight Eastern time, so I don't know how people were awake at that time, but on the West Coast it wasn't so bad where I live, so I got to watch a bunch of them. But that totally blew her up. She committed to something that she would do again and again to connect to an audience. There are people on Periscope that want to watch. Facebook Live stole Periscope. That's live video is like the new thing. She said, I see this as the future. I'm committing to it, and she did it, and her followers exploded. And she is quitting her job a year from December. She actually had 2 years notice. But you can also, talk to the other bloggers, the people you meet here. Social media collaborations, guest posting on other sites. I know Google has said they didn't love that at one point, but it seems like if you do quality guest posts, not just like 400 words, and oh, check out my website, like something that's good for that site, those are great. Be interviewed on podcasts. There's a website, you can Google it, where you can get on an email list, and they will send out once a week a list of podcasts looking for guests that you can submit a form to. So say, hey, I'd love to talk to you. Here's what I talk about. You can speak, you can write a book. But another thing that gets rolled at the bottom, client projects. The work you do for your freelance clients today may help you get discovered by new clients. So I'm a big fan of bylines. When I've hired freelancers, I give them bylines. when I work as a freelancer, about 90% of the time I have a byline. I have a couple clients that I don't, but they pay me really, really well. So I'm okay to give up the byline if they'll buy me off. Everyone has a price, right? But for my lower paying clients, I would absolutely never write for them without a byline. Because for me, writing for a low paying client might be a way to get my name out there. Find that next client who's going to pay me more. Speaking of clients, number 3, build a stable of reliable clients. You know, everyone has clients they love and everyone has clients they hate. I have fired 2 clients before that I didn't like to write for. One because they wouldn't raise their rate. I worked for them for 2 years. And I said, you know, my average rate has gone up $200 an article since I started writing for you. Can you give me 25 more a post? And they said no. So I happily walked away. Another client, they were paying me thousands per article. Not quite the same volume, but they were such a pain in the tush, let's say, to work with. I wasn't willing to spend my time and waste my time on that. So even though, yeah, I got a couple $1,000s at the end, if I spent that same amount of time writing for a client that paid me a lot less, I might be able to write 5, 6 articles in the time I could write 1 for that client. So think about that when you're working with your clients. Communication and strong relationships are a key to success here. Right, at this conference, and we have speed networking sessions today and tomorrow. If you haven't signed up, do that. You know, what state, what country, what city do you want to go visit? What other blogger do you want to network with, collaborate with, do a project with? And build these relationships, because relationships are what it's all about. It's all about the network. LinkedIn, a lot of people think about it as something just for the corporate world, but you know that's another place you can have a professional connection. Why do people? What gravitates people to LinkedIn? Building those relationships. I put that Gmail logo up there because that's the way I communicate with my clients most. I do have phone calls with some. I have one client, we have a weekly call just to go over upcoming assignments. For most clients, it's just email. You know, they'll send me a note at the beginning of the month, hey, here's your assignments, or I'll say, oh, here's some pitch ideas. But keep those relationships strong. Coming to places like this where you can meet face to face has immense value. So communicate well, communicate often. Don't communicate like you do to your friends or your dad or someone, like where it says at the bottom, ha, got you bad. Don't write like that to your clients. Use good spelling and grammar, just like if you were writing on your website or if you were delivering a product. You know, be professional, respond quickly to emails. I know as bloggers we get like 7 zillion emails a day. Since I've been here, my inbox went, I was really proud when I left for this conference, my inbox was at 0. And yesterday when I got back from the party to the hotel, I opened my laptop and I had like 250 emails. It's horrible. But I had to go through those emails really quickly and scan for the ones from my clients because they don't care that I'm here. They don't care where I am. They just want to hear back from me quickly. So no matter where you are, what you're doing, traveling anywhere in the world, be responsive to your clients, and if you are not going to be able to be, let them know ahead of time. Remember, your client is your boss and your customer, so you're keeping them happy in 2 ways. Next, don't get fired. It is not, you're not going to make money if someone lets you go. There's the saying, everyone's in Office Space, like one of my favorite movies, it's amazing. In the movie, Peter, the main character, says, essentially, I just work hard enough to not get fired. If you work just hard enough to not get fired in freelancing, you're probably going to get fired. You can't just get by. You know, maybe once in a long time you don't give your best effort, but generally always provide amazingly high quality content every single time. Always give your best work to your clients, because otherwise they're not going to hire you back. And they unlike a full-time job where it's really difficult and there's legal issues and HR issues to fire someone, to fire a freelancer, you don't even have to tell them anything. You could just not send them assignments anymore. So if you send a bad string of assignments in, don't expect to hear back. Next, be very easy to hire. So this is a screenshot of my homepage of my website, except for the arrow, I added that just for you guys. That's pointing to my contact form page, which used to just say contact. But now it says contact/hire me. And if you click on that link, on that page, it says, you know, there's a box, you send me an email, it goes right to me. But there's also a little bit of information about what I do and how you could work with me, and the link out to my portfolio, ericrosenberg.com, another place with a contact form to send right to me. Actually, every page on my website that talks about services I offer, which are writing, speaking, and consulting, there's an email form on each page, because I want to make it as easy as possible for someone who wants to give me money to be able to give me money. Like that's, when you go to retail stores and things like that, you ever run into an issue where it's like hard to pay? You're just like, I'm not going to deal with it at all. People do that on the internet in like 0.7 seconds. They're making decisions. Like if your page doesn't load in less than 2 seconds, they're probably already on to the next freelancer. So make it absolutely easy. Next, we're going to get into some number details. We're going to level up our paychecks. So, as I said, I have fired clients before. One, because they were a low payer. Why was I okay firing a low-paying client? And I was still making a few $100 a month from them in total. Because by doing that, I have room to bring in another client who is going to pay me more. It's kind of like a ladder. So everyone has, those clients that will pay you a lot per article, but probably aren't sending you as much. Then there's the clients in the middle who pay your average rate, give you a good volume, that's your core income. Then there's those base clients who pay you less, but give you way more volume. And there's no right or wrong here. I do have some clients, like I said, I have clients that pay me thousands per article, I have some that pay me hundreds per article. I mean, often depends on what I need to do for them, but the ones that pay me on the lower side, I have 12 articles a month at my lowest rate that I know absolutely every month without fail, I will be able to write and make that money. And they don't even go back and forth with editing. They're super easy to write. I crank out 800, 1200 words, send it over, made that money. And so those clients, I could take 2 days, do everything for them for the month, and then focus on those core clients the rest of the month. But I know I have that base income that I can rely on. And every once in a while you get that peak article, like those couple thousand, 3,000 articles that are crazy investigative. I did one that was 8,000 words recently, a white paper essentially, on integrating with SAP and Oracle kind of system stuff I did when I was in finance and accounting. That's really boring. But there are CFOs out there who need to know that information and help their business. So a company was willing to pay me a lot of money to write about that, because every sale they make is hundreds of thousands of dollars. And don't be afraid to charge what you're worth. So how many of you are already freelancers today in some way? How many of you have never raised your rate to a client? Okay, there's a few hands out there. So it's really awkward. It's a weird feeling to say you should give me more money. That is not something that they teach you in elementary school how to do. They don't even teach you how to balance a checkbook, let alone how to ask for a raise. So, don't undervalue yourself. Don't just run to take a $25 article because someone's willing to pay you $25. If you have opportunities to make $50, $100, go for those higher rates. Don't feel bad. If you communicate well, and as we said, don't just do the minimum to not get fired. If you do a great job every time, they should be happy to pay you a little bit more. And some clients have bigger budgets than others. You probably have an idea of the size of the companies you're working with and how deep their pockets are. If you're working with a Fortune 500 company, I guarantee you they could afford $25 more if they chose to. But they're not just going to say, here's $25 usually. You might have to ask. So don't be bashful, it's okay to ask. The best way I find to start a conversation like that is to send an email over or a call and say, I just want to check in, see how things are doing. Get kind of a feel if they're happy with your work overall. If you get some negative feedback in that email, it might not be the best time to ask for a raise. But